Hey everyone, Maury Mo here. I hope you guys are having a great new year. Today I'm going to go over the Bad Batch episode titles and what I think the direction of this new season will be. Now we've already got episodes 1 and 2 out of the way, Ruins of War and Spoils of War. This is setting the tone for what we're going to see with the characters. Echo's already thinking about helping others outside the galaxy. We have the Sereno that we saw in the trailer. That storyline is out of the way. And we now know that Crosshair didn't tell the Empire that the Bad Batch is dead. In addition, Omega is older, and she's starting to show some of the traits of Boba Fett as far as being extremely determined to accomplish missions. With Boba Fett, it's obviously acquiring bounties, getting his bounties for money. And Omega is kind of similar here, but not so much bounty hunting, but with the missions that they're assigned by Sid and now this new character, Fee. But she's doing it because she wants to help her brothers have a normal life. So that brings us to this upcoming episode this Wednesday, which will be The Solitary Clone. And that episode, I'm pretty sure, is going to be about Crosshair. I had thought initially it could be Boba Fett, maybe, but Jennifer Corbett, one of the show's frontrunners, has pretty much shot down the idea that Boba Fett will be in this season, which also says that the rumors that we got a couple weeks back, the ones I made a video about, those were definitely false. Pretty well written, I have to say, but definitely false. But now that we know Boba's not going to be in it, this is probably going to be about Crosshair. And from what some Redditors have said online, it's going to also be Crosshair and Cody. They're going to be on a mission together. But I think this will be mostly about Crosshair's standpoint. We now already know that Crosshair didn't rat out his siblings to the Empire. And that's probably going to be a really big issue going forward. Will Cody find out? How will he feel about it? Some of the other showrunners have suggested that Crosshair is going to be, maybe examining his own decisions that he's made. Remember, he doesn't have the chip. So he may not be feeling quite the way he did in the first season. So I think we're going to see Crosshair go on a huge emotional journey throughout the season, and this is going to be the start of that. So episode 4 is going to be called Faster. Now, because of one of the early reviews by Tessa Smith, she had only seen 4 episodes at that moment, and she talked about one episode being like a standalone episode, but some people call it filler. I'm not crazy about that term, but I call it a standalone episode. Anyways, most reviewers have said that there isn't really very many filler episodes this season. Most of it is pretty much in keeping with one story or several unified storylines. So with that in mind, episode 4 would have to be the standalone episode of this season. And because it's called Faster, I think this is going to be what we saw in the trailer, where Tech is racing on these little speeder kind of bikes. I don't know what the storyline's going to be, but I think this will be a tech-centered episode, and that they will be racing in some way. Episode 5 is called Entombed. I think this episode is going to be the one where we saw what looks like clone boys inside of a mountain or cliff. I think this episode is going to be where they get trapped in a cave somehow, or in a mining cave, and they have to find their way out. So that one sounds pretty on the nose for what we saw in the trailer. Episode 6 of The Bad Batch is called Tribe, and I think this episode is going to be the one about the Wookiee Gungi and all the Wookiees that we see around him. So I think this is definitely the episode where we figure out what his fate was, and hopefully the fate of the other Padawans from the Clone Wars as well, the ones that all went together during that one arc. So I think that's going to be at least primarily about Gungi, but it could be about the others as well. This was originally going to be a Clone Wars episode, but it didn't get made when the show ended a little early. So now we're finally getting to see that story being told. So episode 7 and 8 is called The Clone Conspiracy and Truth and Consequences. This is the mid-season of the Bad Batch episode, season 2. And I think this is going to be the big two-parter where we get Emperor Palpatine and also that little bit of Bail Organa that we saw. So I don't know what the main mission is going to be for the Bad Batch, but they may be either going to protect Bail Organa or they need to meet with him. But I think the main thing is that we're going to see how the Emperor spins the destruction of Kamino. I think maybe Bail is one of the first people to try to speak the truth about what happened, that it was annihilated by the Empire that we saw in season 1. And Senator, the Emperor will have a completely different story about how the Kaminoans totally deserved it somehow. That's usually how the Empire spins these atrocities. Now, episodes 9 and 10, which are called The Crossing and The Retrieval, those are some of the later episodes that I know the least about. It sounds like a kind of mission-type title, and I think some of the people that we saw in the trailer associated with B, maybe this is a two-parter associated with them. But again, I don't know a whole lot about it. They may have to cross some very important gulf or ravine, and they have to retrieve some kind of item that's extremely important. It could be also retrieval of a person too, but again, one of the episodes for which not easy to guess on what this will be about, but we probably have not seen too much footage from it. Episode 11 of the Bad Batch Season 2 is called Metamorphosis, and this is the episode that I think has the most intriguing title. I wonder if it's about the Zillo Beast that we saw in the trailer. It could also be about big, significant character changes. We know from what some of the showrunners have said that Echo has a really big decision to make. I know in the first episode we saw that Echo is really trying to get the others to help the galaxy more. I think Omega has that goal too, but I think Echo is the one who really wants to get out there and who will separate himself from the Bad Batch. And remember, he's not like the rest of the Bad Batch. He's a reg. And I think he might feel more of an allegiance to some of the other clones that he had worked with. He might feel called to work with Rex more than the others. That doesn't mean he's not he doesn't feel close ties to the rest of the Bad Batch, but I think he's going to part ways, and this could be more of that at this episode. I think part of the reason why we're seeing more Echo development is because we're going to see him make this big decision towards the end of the season. And also it's worth pointing out, a lot of reviewers have said that Mount Tantiss plays a huge role this season, which I'm happy to see because that means I get to see my girl Nalase. But I think we're going to see more of what the cloners are doing as far as tie-ins to the Mandalorian, Snoke, maybe Grogu too, don't know yet. But we definitely are going to see how Omega came to be and why she exists. But I think Metamorphosis, even if it doesn't have about the Zillo Beast in it so far, it's going to be about character changes. Episode 12 is called The Outpost, and from what some Redditors have said, this is the episode that is almost like a horror episode, and this is going to really stand out. I think we are definitely going to be at a cloning facility with the episode Outpost. And this is an episode that's apparently going to feature Echo, and it might be one of the episodes that features Crosshair. I find myself wondering if Crosshair is going to end up going to Mount Tantiss, not of his own free will, but because, once it's found that he, uh, you know, didn't tell anybody about the Bad Batch being alive, that maybe he gets sent there, maybe to get another chip put in by Nalase, maybe just to be experimented on. But I think we're definitely working towards a Mount Tantiss ending for this whole story, and the Outpost, I think we're going to get into the Kaminoans and all the cloning experiments. If Metamorphosis doesn't have the Zilla Beast, then maybe it's going to be this one too, but it's supposedly a really scary kind of story, and I can't wait for this. Episode 13 is called Pabu, and I have no idea what this could be. I'm not going to even try. Maybe it's a person, maybe it's a planet, maybe it's an animal. I don't know. Have no idea. And that's all I'm going to say. Episode 14 is called Tipping Point, and I feel like this is also going to be a major episode. This episode could be Crosshair making a pretty serious decision, or it could be Echo as well. Again, Echo has been rumored to have a big decision. Also Cody, so I think this is going to be the episode where we see, if not Echo, then maybe Crosshair or Cody making several major decisions that's going to change the trajectory of the story for season 3, including, the finale of season 2. So I think we're going to have Omega want to go back to Mount Tantiss. I don't know if she's going to be led there because maybe Crosshair is there, or if she's going to rescue other clones. But I'm hoping Omega finally gets to meet Nalase, who has pretty much been her only mother figure, a very flawed mother figure, but a mother figure nonetheless. And I hope this is where we get their reunion. But if not, I feel confident that Omega and Nalase are going to be reunited this season. Okay, and now we get to the last 2 episodes, which nobody has seen. And those are the 2-part season finale called The Summit and Plan 99. The Summit, I'm pretty certain, is probably about Mount Tantiss. Omega and the rest of the Bad Batch, Hunter and Wrecker, probably have to ascend the summit to find who they need to. And Plan 99, I think we're going to definitely learn more about Nalase's experiment. If you want, you could check out a video I made a while back. This is a video where I talk about Nalase's experiments with the Bad Batch. She probably had a lot of different experiments, but I personally think that a major component was accelerated aging, because Hunter, Echo, Crosshair, Wrecker, they are younger than Nalase, and they are younger than Omega, and she cannot be over 12 at this point. And she remembers them, so that means that she would have been at least 4 years old, maybe 5, when she first met them, if she has memories of them. So that means the Bad Batch is significantly younger than the other clones that we've seen in the regs. So I think that was part of her experiment. Again, you could check out that video to see how I came to that conclusion. But we could also see if maybe some other theories out there are correct. Some people have theorized that Omega is an attempt at making a Force-sensitive clone. And I personally don't think Omega is Force-sensitive. I could be wrong, but that's one theory that's been out there. I personally think she just served as raw material to make better fighting clones and faster aging clones. But we'll get to see some of that. One of the theories that Alfred Padilla had that I totally believe in is that Omega may be the mother of the Bad Batch clones. She's their donor, just as Jango was the donor for Boba Fett. So if that's true, maybe we'll learn that this season, or maybe not. At the very minimum, Omega is the older sister of the Bad Batch. But let me know what you think. I also want to show you guys this awesome pillowcase I got for the holidays. It's Kamino, speaking of all things the Bad Batch and Attack of the Clones. And you can see this great pillowcase has Jango Fett's ship on it. If you'd like to figure out where to get that, I'll put an affiliate link down below. But let me know how your holidays went and what you think is going to happen for the rest of the season for the Bad Batch. Do you think we'll find out Omega is force sensitive? Do you think she's the mother of the Bad Batch? Are we going to see Grogu? That's been a theory that we've heard quite often. Maybe they'll rescue Grogu. Anyway, let me know what you think, and may the force be